Follow the money. We all have heard that one. But how about this? Fleeing states that are taking your money. There's a new report from the Tax Foundation showing a growing number of Americans are leaving high-tax blue states and moving to low-tax states. So what does this mean for the economy and the midterms? Let's get the read from Douglas Holtz-Eakin, former director of the Congressional Budget Office. Doug, we've been hearing about this, but it's pretty obvious that this is happening. First, let me ask, before you get into the economics of it, I'm always hearing Florida, maybe Tennessee, Texas, but there are more states, right? I mean, they're fleeing to other states as well.
Sure. You're going to see a big growth in Idaho, Montana, the Dakotas. We're seeing those as places that have good business climates, low taxes, and they've seen very rapid growth over the past year.
What do you think then in terms of economics? Obviously we talk about the need for people to fuel an economy. Certainly, if you already got a great economy, this must help also.
Well, I think, it's pretty simple. Democrats might breathe a sigh of relief that the Build Back Better effort seems to have been stalled, and that's where most of the big tax increases are. So that's what they were afraid of. But if you look at those places that have high taxes, there are also places that, as I said, have bad climates for startup and growth in businesses. They were the ones where growth in jobs has been the slowest. They're also the kinds of places that held on to the extra UI bonus for the longest and had the slowest recovery as a result. And so the mix of policies that are in those states is exactly the mixes that's been proposed in Congress. It's a recipe for bad economic performance, and voters are going to figure that out.
I mean, I think they are. Well, I don't want to say I think they are, because we have seen where there has been a large migration from blue states to red states, and these red states start to become purplish with respect to voting. And I find that to be extremely, somewhat ironic, but also confusing. You fled a state because the taxes were too high and the regulations too onerous for you to start a business. Your paycheck was cut in half. There was no upward mobility, and you went to a new state and you voted the same way. Can we actually start to see the maps change because of this?
Well, we will see the maps change. I think people draw the wrong conclusions. They move because there's a job. They move because housing prices are reasonable, and they say, okay, let's try living there. And what they don't understand is that the reason the housing prices are reasonable is the regulation is not overbearing and people can actually build houses and build apartments. And there are jobs because the business climate is a good one. And they mistakenly think that somehow the government does that. And they get to the new state and they vote the same way they did before. They will eventually learn, or they'll keep moving, because that recipe doesn't work. And the states are proving it again and again and again.
Meanwhile, have these states that everyone's fleeing, have they crossed the Rubicon? I mean, is it too late for them to start cutting taxes? Is it too late for them to remove restrictions? They've got the highest unemployment rates. They've got everything wrong, and yet it feels like they've gone so far down this rabbit hole. How can they even reverse it?
Well, of course it's not too late, and it can be done. I think the big opposition is that those states tend to have very big public sectors, a lot of unionized public sector employees, a lot of big pension problems in those states. Those are very hard to reverse quickly, and they tend to be a reason that the government stays too big, the taxes stay too high, right. And it's a real danger for places like Illinois, New York. I mean, that's a concern.
Doug, just moments ago, Chipotle posted their results. They beat expectations. They were helped by price hikes, which shows us, at least for now, people are willing to pay more. The question, though, is when is the breaking point?
Well, they're willing to pay more because their wages are going up, but the wages aren't quite going up as fast as the prices. And as this sinks in, and as the sort of about $2 trillion of stimulus money that people carried over from the past couple of years gets eaten away, the rubber hits the road. And until real wages are rising, wages faster than prices, you're going to see the household sector retrenched. That'll be the inevitable result unless we change things.
You feel like that has to be right around the corner, right? I mean, savings look like they're starting to dwindle here.
Yeah, I mean, it was an enormous savings boom because people really couldn't go out and consume services in particular. And that savings rate has gone back to more typical numbers. The accumulation of 2020, 2021 has been eaten away, and we're back to sort of what can you live off of in your day job and the raises that you're getting there. Those raises aren't big enough for people to continue to spend at the rates we'd like them to. That's the issue.
And we'll be reminded of that Thursday when the CPI number comes out. Doug, thank you very much, my friend.